Hello everyone, I'm Mr. Doni Anggoro. Today, Group 2 will present the material about the growth of English for specific purposes as an approach. Let's meet our members. There are Indira Puan Maharani, Siti Balqis, Muftihah Rahmah, and Alifa Ramdaniah. And the first material will be presented by me, Muftihah Rahmah. Okay, so the development of English for specific purposes. There are five stages of ESP development by Hutchinson and Waters, 1987. First, register analysis. Second, rhetorical or discourse analysis. Third, target situation analysis. Fourth, skills and strategies. 5. A learning-centered approach. ESP has 5 phases of change, and EST has a role in its development, which is an important area in the development of ESP. In other words, the development of EST illustrates the development of ESP in general. Here are phases of ESP development. Okay, first, the concept of special language register analysis. Register analysis started at 1960 and 1970. It can be used to determine authenticity of language in relation to lexical and grammatical features. This concept departed from the principle that English of a specific science differs from each other in terms of its grammatical and lexical feature of the registers. Register analysis in ESP was tailored for the pedagogic purpose, making the ESP course more relevant to learners' needs, not intended for the purpose to discuss the nature of registers of English. The main purpose of an ESP course was to produce a syllabus which gave a high priority to the language form students would meet in their field, and in turn would give low priority to forms they wouldn't meet. The focus is on the grammar and vocabulary of scientific and technical English based lexicostatistics. The concern in register analysis and interpretative strategies, as in the skills and strategies approach, are actually directed to the same destination or language use. Okay, the second is the beyond the sentence. Rhetorical or discourse analysis. Register analysis has focused on sentence grammar, but this second phase of development shifted attention to the level about the sentence. As ESP became closely involved with the emerging field of discourse or rhetorical analysis, in this stage, the students of ESP are taught to know more about the pattern of a discourse, shift to understanding how sentences were combined in discourse to produce meaning. Will be more elaborate on chapter 5.
Target situation analysis. The third phase of ESP development was aimed to take the SIT knowledge and set it on a more scientific basis by establishing procedures for relating language analysis more closely to learners' reasons for learning. The situation in which learners will use the language they are learning. Then the ESP course design process should proceed by first identifying the target situation and then carrying out a rigorous analysis of the linguistic features of the situation. The identified features will form the syllabus of the ESP course. This process is usually known as need analysis. Target situation analysis concerns with language use. Analysis of the target situation can tell us what the people do with the language. Target situation analysis analyze your own learner's needs. Skills and strategies. The first stage of ESP has been an attempt to look below the surface and to consider not the language itself, but the thinking process that underlies language use. There is no dominant figure in this movement, although we might mention the work of Francois Grouth, 1981. The principal idea behind the skills-centered approach is that underlying all language use there are common reasoning, interpreting process which, regardless of surface forms, enable us to extract meaning from discourse. Skill-centered approach aim to help learners for developing skills and strategies which continue after the ESP course by making learners better processors of information.
A learning-centered approach. There are 6 teaching approaches. A. Language-centered approach aims to draw as the direct connection as possible between the analysis of the target situation and the content of the ESP course. B. Skills-based approach looks at the competence that underlies performance, and it sees the ESP course as helping learners to gain abilities which will continue to develop after the course itself. C. Learner-centered approach places the student in the center of the learning process. Students are to be active participants who learn at their own pace and use their own strategy. They are more intrinsically than extrinsically motivated. Learning is more individualized than standardized, activating how to learn skills like problem solving, critical and reflective thinking. D. Task-based instruction makes learners use language in tasks that reflect real life. It is an activity which is designed to help achieve a particular language goal. E. Content-based instruction focus on using real-life subject matters as a vehicle for teaching. It helps students to be more motivated to learn and to develop valuable study skills. F. Learning-centered approach states that learning should be seen in the context in which it takes place. Society sets the target, and individuals must do their best to get as close to that target as possible. It sets the target, and individuals must do their best to get as close to that. ESP is not a product, and it is not a kind of any language or method, and also not containing learning material. ESP is an approach of the language study based on student need. The concern in register analysis and interpretative strategies, as in the skills and strategies approach, are actually directed to the same destination.
In this section, we are talking about the difference between English for specific purposes and English for general purposes. English for specific purposes, or ESP, is not general English teaching and learning, but is specialized English. ESP is focused English learning and teaching situation in which teaching methods and learning environment are different from general. According to Hutchinson and Waters, 2010, further distinction between general English courses and ESPs that learners of the latter are mainly adults with a certain degree of awareness concerning their language needs. The distinction between ESP and EGP lies in the way we define and implement the learning purpose as follows. ESP learners are usually adults who are familiar with the English language, while the age of EGP learners varies from children to adults, and learning the English language is the subject of the courses. ESP learners, they are learning the language in order to communicate professional information and to perform some particular job-related function, while EGP courses are mostly focused on grammar, language structure, and general vocabulary. ESP learners are highly motivated as they are aware of their specific purposes for learning English. EGP, or English for General Purposes, helps students to cope with any subject matter course, and it gives them the ability to generate more language. EGP learner, if well taught, can use English to cope with the language in any undefined task. In English for specific purposes or ESP courses, needs analysis determine language skills that are useful for the learners to be able to accomplish certain professional tasks. While the EGP courses deal with many different topics, and each of the four skills is equally treated. EGP is responsible to the general language acquisition and non-needs analysis conduct.